Sony's new APS-C sensor mirrorless camera, the A5100, is in some ways even better than its bigger brother, the A6000. Let's have a look at the new A5100. Hi, I'm Larry Becker. The new Sony Alpha A5100 doesn't replace the A6000 or even the A5000, but it expands the lineup between the two. And in spite of the fact that the A5100 name might suggest a small feature set bump over the A5000, it's much more. In some ways, this camera does even more than the high-end A6000. Let's have a look at the specs, image and video quality, some special control features, the form factor, how it compares to the A5000 and the A6000, and then we'll even throw in a few suggestions about the camera for new users. The A5100 has the same sensor as the A6000. It's Sony's 24.3 megapixel APS-C sensor. It also shares the Bionz X processor and a high ISO rating of 25,600 with a burst rate of 6 frames a second. It has a tilting 3-inch 921,000 dot LCD, and you can flip it up for self-portraits. The autofocus system is really impressive. It has 179 phase detection autofocus points for fast focusing, and 25 of those points are also contrast detection, so you'll get solid autofocus performance in a variety of lighting conditions. The A5100 has an AFA autofocus mode, like the A6000, so that it can switch between a single point and continuous autofocus on the fly. There's even eye autofocus, which automatically zeroes in on someone's eyes and it focuses there. Another spec that's nice is the 1080p video at 60, 30, or 24 frames a second. But that's only the beginning of the news about video quality. While Sony has been known for their quality AVC HD video format, they've added another codec. The XAVC-S format can handle 50 megabits per second throughput, and of course you'll still have the somewhat lower quality video format of MP4 files, which are easier to share. With this extra video quality, I'm a little surprised that there's no option for adding an external mic, like via a mic jack or Sony's special hot shoe. For pro quality audio, you'll just need to use the onboard audio as a guide track and then use an external audio recording device and sync the tracks in post. There are a couple more cool video capabilities with the A5100. First is the zebra highlight warning, which will help you with your capture quality. And second is something pretty advanced. You know how lots of cameras, including this one, allow you to shoot stills as camera raw and JPEG simultaneously? Well, the A5100 lets you shoot video files and save them as AVC HD or XAVC-S and simultaneously save an MP4 file onto the same card. The still image quality is one of the things that makes Sony a leader in this class of cameras. Sony has pushed to make their mirrorless lineup deliver image quality on par with APS-C equipped DSLRs. At the time of my review, Adobe Camera Raw didn't yet have an interpreter for this camera, but Adobe stays on top of that stuff, so I'm sure it will be out within just a few weeks. So all my image testing is based on the JPEGs from the A5100. They're pretty darn good. You can see details in the shadows, even in otherwise bright images. Noise is about what I'm used to with modern APS-C sensors. The color accuracy is very good, but just like what I'm used to seeing, oranges and reds seem to be a little richer than the blues and greens. Sony understands the value of quick image sharing with our smart devices, so they've included Wi-Fi and near-field communications, NFC, in the A5100. You can share images wirelessly and even remotely control your camera. The Play Memories mobile app makes that happen, and its feature set is just like what the A6000 does. I was thrilled to find out that the Alpha A5100 has a touchscreen, but if you're like me, you might be a little surprised with how it works. First, let me say, it's great to be able to touch anywhere on screen and have the camera focus there. I did test shots with subjects near the edge of the frame, and it even did a great job focusing there. Another great thing about the touchscreen is that you can turn on touch shutter, and the A5100 will focus there, and then as you touch, it will also take the shot. Then if you flip the LCD up so that you can see it from in front, in combination with the self-timer, self-portraits can be even easier. One of my favorite things about this touch focus is that it works while filming, and because of the advanced autofocus system of the A5100, you can rack focus while filming without any of that back and forth focus hunting. It makes your videos look much more professional. The downside to this touchscreen is that it only works for touch focus and touch shutter, nothing else. I understand why everything can't be touch activated, especially if you're using touch focus, but I don't understand why the menus aren't touch enabled. Let's talk about the form factor of the Alpha A5100. The controls, grip, and flip-up LCD make this look like a twin to the A5000. There's an on-off toggle and a spring-loaded zoom toggle that both surround the shutter button. There's no hot shoe, but there is a built-in pop-up flash, and it's the bendy kind that can be manually pulled back to bounce light off the ceiling. Since there's no shooting mode dial, you'll need to know to press the button in the center of the control wheel to bring up the virtual mode dial. Then just spin the control wheel to change the shooting modes. And when you're navigating menus, you spin the dial to move up and down, and you press the dial like a joystick to move it left and right. I like Sony's menu system because it's intuitive and, for the most part, Sony terminology makes sense. Because I reviewed the A5100 as a kit, which included the EPZ16-50 f3.5 to 5.6 OSS power zoom lens, I'd like to tell you a few things about this E-mount lens. The camera's 1.5x APS-C crop factor means that it's equivalent to having a 24 to 75 millimeter field of view. There are a couple of controls on the lens that are both electronic. There's a power zoom toggle that duplicates the function of the zoom toggle that's up by that shutter, and there's a lens ring that can be used as yet another zoom control, or if you set the camera for manual focus, it becomes your focus ring. And the A5100's focus peaking feature makes manual focusing more accurate. Even though all these lens-based controls are by wire rather than mechanical, I found them to be very responsive and easy to use. And when I was filming, I noticed that the focus motor was completely silent. And the zoom motor was audible, but it wasn't obnoxious. Finally, the lens also has optical steady shot image stabilization for sharper handheld shots. There are a couple of accessories I'd pick up with my A5100 purchase. First, because the camera is your battery charger, for under $20 I'd get the Watson charger that plugs directly into the wall, and I always pick up an extra battery for my cameras. The other thing is the Sony LCS EBB form-fitting body case, partly because it adds to the gripability of this camera and partly because it just looks cool, and it's reasonably priced. If you're in the market for a camera like the A5100 and you don't already have a Sony mirrorless camera, you might also be considering the A5000 and the A6000. Granted, this camera is a couple $100 more than the A5000, but the sensor, autofocus performance, and video performance are all far superior to the A5000. The burst rate even jumps from 3.5 to 6 frames a second with the A5100. The A5100 will be worth the additional investment to ensure better quality images and more keepers than the A5000. So a closer comparison for most photographers would be a decision between the A5100 and the A6000 because they're both so close to one another in performance and features. Since they have the same sensor and autofocus system, the main differences are that the A6000 adds an electronic viewfinder, a multi-interface shoe for flashes and other dedicated accessories like pro-quality microphones. There's a mode dial on the A6000, and the burst rate is 11 frames a second with the A6000. Just remember though, the A5100 has better video capture capabilities, more video file formats, and that 180-degree touchscreen LCD. The Sony Alpha A5100 is a great camera with an impressive autofocus system and a high-quality APS-C sensor. It does a nice job competing with the APS-C equipped DSLRs for both features and performance, and it's small enough to fit in your jacket pocket. For B&H and Kelby One, I'm Larry Becker. Thanks for watching.
Whether you're a hobbyist or a professional, B&H has the answers to your questions. Experience a world of technology at our New York City Superstore. Connect with us online or give us a call. Our staff of experts is happy to help.
Scott Kelby here, and welcome to this quick tour of our online training. We have hundreds of online classes for you, covering everything from lighting to landscape photography. From portrait photography to sports, we have classes on wedding, automotive photography, shooting, food, fashion, travel, you name it. The most incredible part of this is the price. You get all of this for just $199 a year, or you can pay monthly for just $24.95. 24-hour a day, 7-day a week access from anywhere in the world. I invite you to join with us today and start learning right now.